Hello, good afternoon. My name is Yuda. In this 10 ITB International Geothermal Workshop 2021, co-authors and I would like to share preliminary result of micro-earthquake monitoring at Namora Ilangit and Selangkitang, Sarula, North Sumatra, Indonesia. If you have any comments or question, let us know through the email shown in this opening slide. Namora Ilangit and Selangkitang are two geothermal fields located in North Tapanuli, North Sumatra, Indonesia. Namora Ilangit is located about 300 kilometers southeast of Medan, while Selangkitang is located 10 kilometers southeast of Namora Ilangit. Namora Ilangit or NIL is a volcanic geothermal system with distributed permeability characteristic. NIL is situated on the eastern flank of two quaternary dacitic and dacitic volcanic centers, namely Dolok Pamonaran in the south and Dolok Sigunilumbu in the north. And Namora Elangit is also located on the northern end of Sarula Graben. Production well concentrated in the north volcanic complex, while injectors drill toward east, targeting high permeability zone in the Great Sumatran Fault. Different with Namora Elangit, Selangkitang geothermal system is a fault control and a liquid dominated. The main surface expression is comprised of series of boiling springs and fumaroles concentrated along 2.5 kilometer length foothill of the valley. The productions are located within extensional area along Great Sumatran Fault, while the injection area is divided into two in the northwest and the southeast of production area. The micro-earthquake monitoring was conducted in Namora Elangit and Selangkitang to monitor the reservoir response to exploitation activity and also to understand the MAQ activities along Great Sumatran Fault. About 18 seismometers were permanently installed as one big network covering 200 of 24 kilometers square, including Namora Ilangit and Selangkitang. Series activity to monitor MAQ, such as recording, processing, and even evaluations, have been executed starting early 2020. NIL and SIL show as an active seismic area with a total number of events in average 3 to 4 per day. As shown in the chart, from February to December, the seismometer network in this field recorded more than 1,600 events, from which almost 1,100 events could be located using phase arrival observed by minimum 4 stations. The final catalog obtained using waveform cross correlations and double difference was used as a basis for the interpretations of relationship between the geothermal productions and injections with the existing geological structure driven by the fluid flow in the reservoir and surrounding. The four MAQ clusters are observed from the distributions of MAQ locations. Two clusters are in NIL and two other clusters are in SIL area. Generally, the average depth of the event location in NIL is shallower than the event in SIL. Laterally, seismicity in NIL area is also spread in a wide area. As shown in the map and cross-sections, the cluster 1 is located northern of Namora Ilangit exploitation area along the Great Sumatran Fault. Cluster 2 consists of shallower MAQ events between 0.5 to 4 kilometer depth. This cluster is observed in the south portions of Namora Ilangit and concentrated within the local northeast-southwest graben, which is Siombun Graben. In Silangkitang, two clusters are observed. The events in cluster 3 are located east of Great Sumatran Fault. The last cluster in Sil is cluster 4, which is located west of main Great Sumatran Fault. The next couple slides show its MAQ cluster characteristic in a more detail. So we assess the potential correlations between exploitation activity and induced MAQ event through further seismological analysis. Poisson ratio, VP over Vs, and B value were calculated to determine the characteristic of its cluster. Low VP over Vs typically correspond with a high temperature fluid within highly fractured rock. As a baseline value, we use VP over Vs of more or less 1.7. Lower VP Vs is considered as induced seismicity due to productions or injection activity. Another seismic parameter is a B value. The B value indicates relationship between the event magnitude and number of seismic events. Previous studies showed that this value could be used to differentiate between natural and induced event. The B value more or less 1 usually correlates with the natural event, while in the general, induced event has a B value more than 2. In Namora Ilangit, the cluster 1 is located northern of Nil exploitation area. We observe deep event in this cluster ranging from 4 to 10 kilometers below sea level. Based on the depth and the location, also seismological analysis, we interpret the cluster 1 events correlate with the activity of regional tectonic relating the Great Sumatran Fault movement. The cluster 2 consists of a shallower MAQ event between 0.5 to 4 km depth, and this cluster is observed in the southern portion of Nil. Based on surface geology, relatively young volcanic units are mapped within this Siombun Graben. Morphologically, the geologic units are older toward east, and most of the event located in the center and the west part of this graben. The area is clearly characterized by highly fractured area with abundance occurrence of extensive thermal features. The distribution of low resistivity layer that associate with the clay cap is absent in this area. Some wells drilled in this area indicate local advanced argillic hydrothermal alteration type. Although there's still uncertainty, it is suggested that the sulfate steam heated water downflows and mix with the hot benign fluid from the deep reservoir through fractures. In Selangkitang, two clusters are observed in the east and west of main Great Sumatran Fault. The events in cluster 3 are located east of Great Sumatran Fault. The events are observed in the depth range of 0.5 to 5 km below sea level. The events in the cluster 3 are more concentrated and makes northwest-southeast alignment subparallel to main Great Sumatran Fault. Geologically, Great Sumatran Fault consists of all units in the surface, while in the subsurface, one well-penetrated shallow uplifted metamorphic rock relates with the basement of Sarula Graben. And this suggests the volcanic formation in this block is relatively thinner as compared with the graben field in the west of Great Sumatran Fault. The last cluster in Sil is cluster 4, located west of main Great Sumatran Fault. The main event cluster in this area deeper than the average depth of the event in cluster 3. It's ranging from 2 to 10 kilometers below sea level. The events are widespread in the deeper level of graben, potentially right on the top of the basement, where the permeability and porosity commonly drop significantly. The distribution of events extend toward south of the Silangkitang beyond the western boundary of Sarula Graben. The map shows the MAQ event occurrence during April and May 2020, and the chart shows the trend of the productions and number of MAQ event activity from February to December 2020. In Namora Ilangit during MAQ observation period, there was a major activity affecting the production mass rate reductions. It was walkover in the main production well. Four producers were put offline starting late February 2020. Consequently, the MAQ event rate dropped in the cluster 2 up to May 2020. After the three wells began online in July, the events gradually increased in the South Nile Cluster 2. The location of Cluster 2 is 2 kilometers south of these wells. The MAQ event occurrence seems to be very responsive in Namora Elangit to the variations in the production's activity. So geologically, in this area, there's a major subsurface north-south structure connecting the area in the South Nile, Center Siomun Graben, and in the North Nile, where some producers were walked over. The structure acts as a very permeable conduits, allowing the non-benign fluid from south migrates to the main production area in the north. When some producers in the north area were put offline, chemistry from other wells gradually decreased in pH, whereas the wells were back online, other wells changed to more alkaline. Positive correlation was observed between production rate and number of MAQ events. It appears that the more extractions in the north creates more disturbance in the region that we interpret as a downflow area. So although the MAQ mechanism is still uncertain, it is suggests that the production rate in the north part of Nile dictates rate of the non-benign fluid downflow. The MAQ occurrence, as I said before, seems to be very responsive in Namora Elangit. Later, on 29 November 2020, there were 15 swarm events in this area, which may correspond with a short-term shut-in on a 2 production well at north. The events are observed at shallow depth, ranging from 0 to 1.5 kilometers below sea level. In Silangkitang, the important activity which is probably correlated with the MAQ event occurrence rate was routine power plant maintenance when all production and injection wells were offline. In mid-2020, after all wells were back online, more than 30 events recorded on 23 September in the east of Great Sumatran Fault, the cluster 3. Although in general, the injection rate is relatively constant before and after the power plant maintenance, an increased average injection was observed in one well in the southern injection pad. It seems that the injection flowed to north from south, eastern part of production area, and triggered these swarm events. Several fault trends in the Great Sumatran Fault Zone might facilitate the migration of the injected fluid in the reservoir. Well, this is the conclusions of our observations. So basically, both Nile and Sil are active seismic area for MAQ cluster were consistently detected. Cluster 1 at Nile and cluster 4 at Sil seem to correspond with the regional tectonic movement of main Great Sumatran Fault. In contrast, the cluster 2 at Nile and cluster 3 at Sil appear to correlate with the exploitation activity. Some MAQ event seems to be directly correlated with the production and injection activity in both Sil and Nile. Of course, this is a preliminary observation and more work is expected in the future to understand the mechanism of MAQ phenomenon along the Great Sumatran Fault and the impact of geothermal field exploitation. The MAQ data collection is still ongoing. We are observing major activity changing during exploitations and which may adjust the current trend of MAQ response. For example, the geothermal production variations due to power plant outage. Of course, we think this will also allow for more accurate interpretations and understanding of geothermal field behavior, which will provide more benefit for future geothermal explorations and exploitations. I think that's all from us, and thank you.
Hello everyone, thank you for watching my presentation. I'm Fikri Fahmi. I'm from Geothermal Exploration Magister Program, Universitas Indonesia. In this opportunity, I would like to present my paper entitled An Application of Cause-Effect Correction to Empty Data from Jailolo Geothermal Prospect Area on the island of Halmahera. In conducting this research, I'm also supported by Dr. Yunus Daud and Mr. Wambra Aslono Pramada as my supervisor in collaboration with Geothermal Research Center Universitas Indonesia and PT Newquest Geotechnology. This is the outline of our presentation. We will start with introduction and then a brief review of geological setting in Jailolo. It will then continue by discussing the main works in this research, which consists of simulation of the cause effect in empty data, the cause effect and its correction in Jailolo, and 3D resistivity model in Jailolo. And at the end, we will deliver some conclusions, acknowledgement, and references. Let's start with introduction. We face with a condition that several geothermal prospect areas are situated near the coastal region, including Jailolo Geothermal Prospect, which is located on the island of Halmahera, North Maluku Province. And as we know, that MT method is a primary geophysical tool in geothermal exploration for imaging subsurface residuary structure. MT data obtained in the vicinity of the coast potentially suffered from the cause effect due to its extremely high conductivity contrast between the ocean and the land. This is our research goal. The first goal is to describe and to examine the cause effect on MT data, including its occurrence, its influence, and its correction. And the second goal is to get a reliable subsurface resistivity model in Jailolo geothermal prospect area. And next, geological setting in Jailolo. This is the tectonic setting map in Jailolo. Jailolo geothermal field lies within the Halmahera volcanic arc. It is originally formed in response to the dual subduction of the Molucasi plate on either side of the Sulawesi-Molucca collision zone, according to Ramadan et al. 2012. This tectonic condition triggered the emergence of several volcanic activity in this region, and this is Mount Jailolo as our investigation area. For local geological condition in Jailolo, it is dominated by northwest-southeast lineation. There are 3 volcanic depressions in Caldera Teluk, Bobo Payo, and Idam Dehe, and Jailolo geothermal prospect area mostly covered by quaternary products. And based on last geological survey in Jailolo, Mount Jailolo is identified as the youngest volcanic product in this area. This is geothermal surface manifestation distribution in Jailolo. There are 6 hot or warm springs, and some of them are mixing with seawater. And there are also 2 steaming grounds with temperature 96 degrees Celsius and 97 degrees Celsius. Okay, and now we will start to discuss the main part in this research. We will start with simulation of the cause effect in MT data. This simulation is performed to answer or to describe the occurrence of cause effect in empty data. For the simulation, we built two synthetic models. This is the first model. The first model is representation of 1D Earth model. And this is the resistivity value for each layer. And this is the second model that we built. The second model was built by making a slight modification of model 1. We add an ocean model or unconductive uh, anomaly with resistive value 0.3 ohm meters on the eastern margin of second model. And we can also observe that the resistivity structure in the interest area or below empty station is kept similar between model 1 and model 2. This is model 1 and this is the interest area and this is model 2. There is no change in model 1 and model 2. Okay, we then calculate the empty response for each station in both model through 3D forward modeling, and this is the empty response from model 1 and this is the empty response from model 2. It can be seen that we have a very different empty response from model 1 and model 2. In model 1, we have similar trend of TE and TM, but in model 2, we have a different trend of TE and TM. So based on this result, we can say that empty data from model 2 is affected by the cause effect as indicated by the change of its empty response from model 1, especially in low frequency. And the simulation results show that the closer the distance between empty station and the ocean, the greater its effect. For example, this is uh, the empty response from MT32 with distance 300 meters from the ocean is highly disturbed by the cause effect compared to MT25, which situated in 7,300 meters. Okay, and next we will discuss the cause effect and its correction in JLOLO. This is the empty station distribution in JLOLO that we use in this research. There are 42 empty and empty stations, and we can see that it is surrounded by the ocean in radius less than 4 kilometers. And in this research, we need bathymetry data that we get from GAPCO with resolution 30 arcsecond. And 3D inversion modeling was applied to get the subsurface resistivity model in JLOLO. Okay, there are two schemes in performing 3D inversion, that is unconstrained inversion and constrained inversion. For unconstrained inversion, the resistivity value in each block will be continuously updated during the inversion process in each iteration. And in constrained inversion, we can add a prior model as a constraint in calculating the model solution. This prior model will be remain constant during the inversion process in all iterations. A prior model quantifies the expected model solution characteristic that is not based on observed empty data, according to Grandis 2009. And it is usually called as an ocean model if it is correlated with the ocean. In this research, an ocean model is added to the 3D inversion MyScript and adjusted with bathymetry data. This is the ocean model that we built, and we add this ocean model to the 3D inversion MyScript. Okay, before we run 3D inversion for real empty data in JLOLO, we try to examine how significant the cause effect and its influence on 3D inversion result in JLOLO. It is conducting by building a simple synthetic model by using similar 3D mesh grid for real empty data. And the distribution of empty station is arranged following the actual coordinate. 3D forward modeling was then performed to calculate the synthetic empty data in each station. And this synthetic empty data is then inverted into schemes that are unconstrained and constrained. So this is the synthetic model that we built to examine the cause effect in JLOLO. We use a similar 3D inversion mesh grid for real empty data, and we add a simple anomaly, simple block anomaly, simple conductive body with resistive value 5 ohm meters, and this is the horizontal view of the anomaly, and this is the vertical view of the anomaly. Okay, and this is the inversion result from scheme 1 and scheme 2. Scheme 1 is unconstrained inversion without ocean model, and scheme 2 is constrained inversion with ocean model. And we try to make a qualitative assessment to compare this result. There are 4 parameters that we have to be assessed. And based on this assessment, the most significant differences between this result is on ability to define the vertical geometry of the anomalous body. It can be seen that in inversion result from scheme 1, we found a spurious or misleading resistivity structure for the anomalous body compared to the original synthetic empty data. And for the second scheme, we have a more reliable, more match with the original synthetic empty data. And then we will discuss the 3D resistivity model in JLOLO. By considering the cause-effect examination result, the 3D inversion of real empty data in JLOLO is performed by using the second scheme. We add the ocean model to the 3D mesh grid, and we consider this ocean model in the inversion process. This is the resistivity section in line 3 in northwest southeast direction, and based on this resistivity section, we can obtain 4 main resistivity layers. This is the first layer with resistivity value more than 100 ohm meter, and second layer less than 10 ohm meter, the third layer between 10 until 100 ohm meter, and the last layer, the fourth layer, is more than 100 ohm meter. And in this resistivity section, we can also observe the presence of abdome-shaped resistivity pattern beneath Mount JLOLO. This is the abdome-shaped resistivity pattern, which is situated beneath Mount JLOLO. And this is another section in line 4. In southwest and northeast direction, we have still a similar resistivity structure. So for the first layer, it represents the overburden, which is usually filled with the fresh rock, except in the location of manifestation. And the second layer indicating the clay alteration products. And for the third layer, indicating the reservoir rocks. And the fourth layer indicating a possible heat source of the geothermal system. And this is the resistivity distribution map for several elevation. From this map, we can observe a conductive anomaly predominantly in almost all investigation area. And this conductive anomaly decreases with increasing depth. And we can also observe a closure of resistivity anomaly beneath Mount JLOLO. And this resistivity anomaly is more clear observed in deeper elevation. Okay, based on this inversion result, we then try to make interpretation of geothermal system in JLOLO. From this map, we try to define the boundary of possible upflow zone, which is situated beneath Mount Jailolo. The boundary is very clear, and in resivity section, it can be seen the up-dome shape resivity pattern that exists beneath Mount Jailolo, and this is the BOC, base of conductor, or it represents the top of reservoir, which is laying on elevation about 800 below sea level and 800 meters below sea level. And the occurrence of hot springs in surrounding Mount Jailolo, it is probably become an outflow of the geothermal system. Okay, based on all the result, we define several conclusions. There are empty data can be affected by the cause effect. The most significant effect occurred in low frequency and might lead to produce some spurious and misleading resivity structure. The cause effect correction by including the ocean model in the inversion process successfully improved the inversion result and produced a more reliable resivity model. The 3D inversion result of empty data in low geothermal prospect area shows a good agreement with the geological condition in this area. The upflow zone is probably situated beneath Mount Jailolo, as indicated by the up-dome shape resivity pattern in the resivity model. Okay, in the end of this presentation, I would like to say thanks to the management of Petenyo Quest Technology for their support in providing empty data processing software. And this is the references in this presentation. Okay, that's all my presentation. Thank you for watching and thank you for your attention.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day, everyone. My name is Muhammad Arif Al-Hasan. I'm a student from the Geological Engineering Institute Technology, Sumatra. And today I would like to present the results of our research with the title of the Geological Preliminary Study of Wairatai Geothermal Field in Sawaran Regency, Lampung Province, based on the volcano stratigraphy analysis. For the first, I'd like to share that the location of the research area is located in the Sawaran Regency, Lampung Province. It is about the 65 kilometers from the capital city of Bandar Lampung. And the study area is a mountainous region with two main volcanic cones, namely Mount Ratai and Mount Betung. The occurrence of the geothermal system in this location was identified by the thermal manifestations that scattered in the study area, especially on the southern part of the Mount Ratai. The study aims to determine the prospect of the Wairatai geothermal field in terms of the distribution and the volume of the volcanic products. So the understanding of the volcanostratigraphy of this area will help to find out the relation between the geothermal system and the volcanic activity in the past. This research was conducted based on the volcanostratigraphy analysis and the remote sensing analysis. The volcanostratigraphy in this study follows the concept of the geothermal exploration from the Wallets and Heiken on 1992 to determine the prospect of the Wairatai geothermal field as shown on the figure 2. There are some volcanic parameters that should be known on these concepts, and those parameters are the dimension of the volcanoes, the degree of magmatic evolution, the age of the volcano, the stress regime, and the fan distribution. The dimension of the volcanoes was estimated using the pile volume calculation algorithms on the global mapper software using the DEMNAS data, while the degree of the magmatic evolution and the age of the volcano was known by the secondary data from integrated geological mapping of the Tanjung Karang by Mangga et al. 1993, while the stress regime and the fan distribution was known based on the remote sensing analysis using the DEMNAS data and the topographic maps. Generally, the morphology of the study area is a composite stratovolcanoes with two main volcanic cones, namely Mount Ratai and Mount Betung. The circular features in this area are visible on the peak of each volcanoes, which are craters as the main eruption centers. And in addition, there is also the circular features that has eroded in the southeastern part of the study area with diameter more than 5 kilometers, which is thought to be the remnant of an ancient caldera from the Gebang volcano that was occurred in the Tertiary age. There is also a row of hills located in the southwestern part of the study area, which extend to northeast, southwest, following the body of the Mount Ratai and Mount Betung, namely Banjarmagar volcanic. So volcanic bodies are divided into 6 facies zones, which is interpreted using the satellite imagery. Those volcanic facies are the central facies of the Mount Ratai and Mount Betung, the proximal facies of Mount Ratai and Mount Betung, and the medial facies of the Mount Ratai and Mount Betung. Mostly, the study area was covered by the quaternary volcanic deposits of Mount Ratai and Mount Betung, which is consist of the andesitic basaltic lava and breccia and also tuff. And the geological structure of the research area consists of the several faults and lineaments that trending relatively northwest-southeast and the northeast-southwest. The results from this study, based on the volcanostratigraphic unit delineation, the study area is in the Ratai Betung Bridget that composed of 2 volcanic crowns, namely Ratai Crown and the Betung Crown. It is justified because the study area has several volcanic cones, and there's also the occurrence of the caldera, namely Gebang caldera. And according to Bronton 2016, the volcanostratigraphy on the Bridget units will indicate the high intensity and long life volcanism that suggests a large magma reservoirs beneath the surface. Since the thermal manifestation on this area just scattered on the Ratai crown, so the subsequent analysis just focused on the volcanostratigraphy of the Ratai crown. Based on the pile volume calculation, the total volume of the Ratai crown reached about the 655 kilometers cubic, while the volcanic rocks on the Ratai crown mainly composed by the andesitic rock composition, and the degree of the magmatic was evolved from the mafic to andesitic composition and slightly to felsic, according to Mangga et al. In 1993. And based on the geological map of Tanjung Karang, Ratai Crown was formed during the Pleistocene to Holocene, which is formed more than 10,000 years ago. And in addition, the distribution of the volcanic vents in Ratai Crown that was widespread radially following the volcanic shape becomes the evidence of the presence of the magma chamber right below the surface of the crown. The lineament extraction shows that generally there are 2 lineament patterns on the study area, trending northwest southeast and northeast southwest. Those 2 patterns form an angle that relatively perpendicular to each other and interpreted as the synthetic and antithetic lineaments. From this FFD map, also we could see that the relation between the lineament density and geological structure and also the thermal manifestations. The geological structures in the study area based on the Donovan et al. Is a normal fault trending northwest southeast. The alignment density map shows medium to high value on the faulting areas, which also correlates very well with the presence of the thermal manifestations on the surface. The alignment maps overlaid with the volcanostratigraphic units map shows the relation between the volcanostratigraphic units and the alignments of the structures. Figures 8 shows that the Ratai crown and Betung crowns alignments is trending to northwest southeast following the Sumatran system. It is indicated in general the study area was controlled by the Sumatran fault. According to Barber on 2005, the study area was located in the southern domain of the volcanic arc, especially on the transtensional segmentation of the Sumatran fault. And if the whole analysis is integrated, the transtensional stress regime model from the Fosun of the strike-slip fault shows that the study area is controlled by an extensional stress regime. So based on the remote sensing analysis and the secondary data, the stress regime that works on the study area is an extensional regime. And the conclusion, the Wairata geothermal field is located in the Ratai Betung Bridget that has a high intensity of volcanism, and the Ratai crown has a big volume that indicates the presence of the large magma chamber and stores potential heat energy as a source of the heat for geothermal system. And the regional structure shows that the alignment trending northwest-southeast affected by the extensional regime of the Sumatran fault. And this area also has a good permeability indicated by the high value of alignment density, especially near the Sam fault area. And last, based on this study, we conclude that the Wairatai geothermal field has a good geothermal prospect to be developed and need the further investigation, especially on the southern part of the Mount Ratai. And this is the last slide, the reference that we used from the study. And that's all from me. Thanks for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.